Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Vulnerability Time. I am your host and published author, Trenton Epizon Rucker. As always, thank y'all so much for being here and for tuning in and listening. The support, I'm speechless. Just want to thank y'all so much, as well as the special guests as well. Thank y'all so much for being part of this journey with me as we just, reach the world and, love and heal and just grow together. Um, yes. So with that being said, today's topics, well, the start off topics are going to be, abandonment and self-love. Um, however, um, to get us started, let's introduce our guest, our special guest. So we have Julie. Julie, say hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, we're thrilled to have you, Julie. Um, so yes, Julie graduated from U of H with a bachelor's in supply chain logistics. Did I say that right?
Mhm. You did, yes.
Born and raised in Houston, Texas, and Julie's starting to stream more of her own art. Um, and also she has a Twitch account, just streaming while she's playing games and stuff like that. I know Twitch is super popular. So all that information, folks, will be in the episode description below to check out her artwork, um, graphic design, Twitch account, Instagram account. Um, yeah, so definitely give it a check, give it a look, y'all. Check it out, y'all. So
Appreciate it. Thank you.
yes, yes. So Julie, before we jump in, let's get to know you a little bit. So what made you what first off, what is supply chain logistics and what made you, what made you, want to pursue that major?
Right. Supply chain is basically everything in our lives. So think of the phone that we're talking, like the call that we're talking on, the products that you buy, the water that you buy, um, the desk that you're sitting at, your house, the materials to build your house, so on and so forth. It's the production movement of all these things. So basically, what my degree entails is kind of figuring out where it goes, how it's going to get there, and like all the nitty gritty in betweens. So that's basically it. So it's like a nurse, right? It's like you're never not going to need it, right? You're always going to need someone
Hmm,
in that field.
right.
The reason why I chose it, I'm actually going to be completely and bluntly honest.
Yes.
Uh, it
Vulnerability
was
time.
the easiest degree that I could get with where I was in life. Because when I started off in school, I was, I jumped around majors where I wanted to be a nurse at first. Well, I didn't really want to be a nurse. I was told, growing up in an Asian household,
Mm,
you kind of like are expected to do something in the medical field, right? Or be a
mm,
lawyer, be a doctor, be this, be that. And I was like, well, I don't want to be in school for 1,000 years. So let me be a nurse. Nursing, is not as long as like a doctor. So, and it makes decent money. But then realizing that I have to like deal with, um, bodily fluids, which power to all
mm,
nurses out there. Like they do amazing. I give them props. I can't handle it. It's
right.
not for everybody. And for the people that do it, it's fantastic. It's beautiful, like that they can do stuff like that. But I can't.
Yeah.
Got did started with that, and then I jumped over to um, engineering. I was like, okay, engineering's not so bad. I can definitely do that. That jumped out. That flew
Which
out the
one was
window
it?
pretty quickly.
Mechanical, civils, which
It was mechanical that I thought about doing.
okay.
Um, yeah, that went out the window pretty quick too. And then I was like, you know what? My aunt's a pharmacist. Pharmacy is a little bit longer than nursing, but it's not as long as a doctor. I can do pharmacy for sure. I suck at chemistry. Um, so that also went out the window. And then I wanted to be a OBGYN. So eventually I did want to be a doctor for a little bit because, I realized that women we have the shittiest healthcare,
Hmm.
especially like people of color, especially Black women. Like if we have the shittiest healthcare, and I was like, I want to be a doctor that helps. Don't know how much I could help, but I wanted to try. Again, medical went out the window. I just medicine wasn't for me. So I said, you know what? What's something that I like to do? And the time, well, I mean, I still am, but the time I started working at Costco wholesale, and I still am there, and working there and kind of learning a bunch of stuff about like product transport and all that stuff. And even though I was just at the time just a cashier, like bagger or slash assistant, where I'm putting stuff in people's baskets, like but just talking to the managers and all that stuff and learning about Costco and like transport and product and merchandising. It was really interesting. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll just go for supply chain. It's not a hard degree. And I actually enjoyed it enough to where I'm like, all right, I could do this for a living. This is nice. So that's kind of
Yeah.
where that was my journey of like school and stuff like that. So I spent
Right.
some time a little bit longer than most people do in school, which I mean, I didn't particularly, I wasn't very fond of the idea, but now, now that I graduated and I'm older, it's like, you know what? People take things at different paces. It's okay.
Exactly.
It's okay.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yes, there's not a really a set time to get a degree. I know people say 4-year college or 2 year.
Mm-hmm.
That that's actually not true.
Oh no,
Um,
honey.
exactly. And this is something really cool. Um, sorry, I burped. I'm so bad.
It's
I'm
okay.
so bad. I'm so naughty. But
Better out
yes,
than
no.
in.
The fact that, because one, it's like when we leave high school, it's like, oh, we're supposed to have, everything figured out. Like, we're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to, know exactly what degree to do, what to do extremely at, like, right after that degree. And honestly, that's not reality of life. For some folks that is, and great. Um,
Mm-hmm.
some folks, that's not, I'm folks as well, like I was criminal justice undergrad, and though I ended up liking the degree, I didn't like I felt like I had to go to some degree, like, I didn't know,
Right, right.
like what to do. And so I think and I was like afraid to, change majors, but I'm glad I stayed with criminal justice. But something that's really cool about you, Julie, is that you you were able to, and that is a form of self-love, trying new things and seeing if it's for
Right,
you or not. You know what I mean? Because
right.
yeah, exactly. It's you were I don't I just want to like I want to honor you and just point that out. That's something that I was scared to do. It took me a long time to be able to. And when I say long time, I mean like a couple months ago, that I'm like, you know what? I gave it a shot. It's not for me. Okay, move on. I gave it a
I'm yeah,
shot. Yeah,
totally
and
with you on that.
yeah. It can be hard though, because it can be scary. I start to feel like a failure, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing, you gave it a shot. You know what I mean? You went into it and you're like, okay, this isn't for me. You gave it a try. That's how you know you're doing something, if something's trying and something doesn't work out or it's just not for you. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's super awesome. Seriously.
It's interesting that you say that because I'm actually reading a book called "The Mountain Is You"
Hmm.
by I cannot remember the author's name, but wonderful book. I'm not finished with it yet, but when you mentioned the whole try thing and giving it a shot and whatnot, there is a section in this book. The book is about self sabotage, right? It's about what is self sabotage? Where does it come from? Why do we do it? And how to overcome it. One of the things that the author mentions is about fear
Hmm.
and doing things that we're uncomfortable with. The reason why us human beings we're so resistant to change, even if we know that it's good for us, it's because we're so comfortable in our daily lives, whether it's bad. It could be something totally bad for us. For example, an extreme case would be like, abusive relationships, right? You're so used to and comfortable with that person, even though you know it's a horrible situation that you're doing something horrible to yourself, you're comfortable with it. And anything innately uncomfortable or unknown to you, you resist it. So it's one of those things where I've, even to this day, I still have to learn, like, it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's good to be uncomfortable, you know, given the right context, of course, right?
Right.
But like, it's good to be uncomfortable. Like, even though you know it's good for you, it's okay to be uncomfortable. Try it. Just do it. Just like Nike says, just do it.
Right.
you know,
Yeah, that whole there's growth in being in comfort, and something that I recently learned to discern is there's a, to help me discern there's uncomfort and then there's unsafe. And so I was like, okay, let me ask myself, what is happening in this situation? Am I just uncomfortable
right?
or just unsafe? Because I know they both can kind of
Yeah,
feel the
for sure.
yeah, and it's just
They
like you
can feel
said.
similar. Yeah.
Yeah. And really quick, a theme that I just, kind of heard from you. Um, like, how about this? How many of us, you know, gave something a shot and we're not happy with it, it's not forced, but we stay with it,
Right.
and that could be tons of things because I've stayed in situations at jobs, and it's just like this is clearly not for me. This is clearly damaging me mentally, yada yada
Hmm.
yada. But like I stayed with it. I didn't have that. Well, I had the courage to leave, but did I utilize it? No, because everyone
Hmm.
has the courage. It's just like, do we utilize it? And no shame. Like it's very
Absolutely.
understandable and common if we don't, and it's kind of like very similar to what you said. You know what I mean? It's still some type of form of comfort. Some type
Right.
of, yeah, because who
Fear,
likes the
fear, fear is
unknown?
crazy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fear is insane. Fear is uh also something that the book talks about is fear, right? It
Mm-hmm.
um a lot of the time we project our fears, right? And um something that's interesting about emotion is there's a different book I read also called You Are Here, and it's written by a Buddhist monk. And if y'all don't know anything about Buddhism, some of the philosophies, sorry, they're cutting my grass outside.
Can't hear
uh,
anything. You're good.
um, with Buddhism, a lot of it talks about philosophies in the religion is about freedom, and I'm not particularly religious, but I do find it interesting. Is about true freedom, and one of the things we talk about is fear and learning to let go of emotions. Right, something that all of us, should recognize is that emotions and feelings, they're temporary. Whatever you feel in that moment, it's okay. Feel it, accept it, and eventually learn that it is temporary. It's going to go away. You know, um, and whenever you start to understand that your emotions and thoughts are separate from you, then that's whenever you're truly free. And that's something that the monk tells us about. He was saying, once you learn to accept and let go of these earthly tethers, such as emotions and feelings, then you're truly free. Of course, it's easier said than done, right? We're all human beings. We all feel, we all,
Right.
all stuff. But whenever you start to think, like my thoughts, my perceptions, my feelings are temporary. They're gonna go away. It's gonna be okay. Allow yourself to feel it, yes, but let it go eventually.
Right.
And
Right.
it's and fear is definitely one of those things where we project our what ifs, into reality. And I think the scary thing with fear is that eventually, if you think about it so much, you eventually manifest it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of scary to think that.
Right. And that's something really interesting that you said, like about the feelings. Like, yes, we have emotions. Feel it, but don't stay there. Just don't stay there too long.
Hmm.
But feel it, yes. Um, we love therapy, don't we?
No, girl, yes. Lord Jesus. I actually just got out of therapy yesterday. And my God, therapy, first of all, everyone should go to therapy. Go to therapy.
Yes.
Go to therapy. You don't realize how much therapy is so helpful. Like,
Right? Just learn
it's
about yourself
therapy is
and
great. It's
yes.
important to find a good therapist though. Like, not all therapists are for you, and that is okay. If you go to therapy and you're like, because I have plenty of friends that said, man, man, I went to that therapy bullshit. Doesn't work. Yada yada. I'm like, well, maybe you just didn't go to the right therapist. What did the
Right.
therapist tell you? And they tell me things that, is a little offhand or left field. And I go, okay, well, your therapist doesn't resonate with you. That's okay.
Right.
It's okay to go to a therapist for like a month or two and realize, okay, this person's not for me. Go to the
Right.
next one. Don't give up. There's always someone out there that's willing to listen to you, to your feelings, to your thoughts, to your emotions, and is willing to be there for you and also help you.
Yeah.
Because there are also therapists that are enablers. You know what I mean? That listen
Yeah.
to, yeah. There are also enablers out there where they kind of just listen and they just don't really like. They don't help you, get to the. They don't help you process or get to like the
Right.
why. Why are you the way that you are? Where is it coming from?
Right.
You know,
Right. Yeah, I've had a
one of
I
the.
sorry, go ahead. Go.
Oh no, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, I've had a couple of therapists like that. I would say like I've had like, two like that. And this was before, and I mean I stayed, and this is before I realized, or was even told that it doesn't necessarily make them a bad therapist or make you
No,
someone who can't learn and grow, but maybe just this particular individual therapist just isn't for you. So
right, exactly.
yeah, because if I knew then what I know now,
Hmm.
I would have looked for, other therapists and tell myself like it's okay, if this therapist isn't the one for you, okay, on to the next.
Right, exactly. And that's totally fine. I'm honestly glad that I found my therapist at the right time. And she's been absolutely wonderful. She's been very attentive and open-minded and quite frank, call me out of my bullshit. Right?
Yeah,
But
that
obviously in a
accountability.
constructive way. Yeah. Of course, in a constructive way. She's very great. Just this last session, she has definitely helped me self-reflect on the way I see myself in my relationships with people, whether
Right.
it's platonic or romantic or otherwise, right? And she's kind of asked me this one thing, and I'm not gonna lie, it kind of hit me really hard, made me tear up a little bit. And she goes, I want to ask you something, and you don't have to answer this right now. I just want you to think about this until we meet next week, right? Um, where did your sense of, or where does your clingingness to hope come from in relationships,
Wait, clinginess to
particularly in
what?
hope?
Clinginess to hope.
Yes.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
I talked about my relationships romantically first, and then eventually with with friends and things like that. She goes, "You put a lot of eggs in the basket of hope in people." Um, One thing I want to mention, I'm sure you've heard this before: don't date potential.
Yeah.
Take someone as they are right now and see what they're willing to give you. You put a lot of basket in the eggs of hope. You hope that they're going to change. And I'm not in a particularly abusive relationship whatsoever, but she told me, and she's like, I'm sure you can empathize with people that are in abusive relationships because what's one thing that you hear all the time in abusive relationships? Oh, they'll change, or they're going to change, or I see them trying to change, right?
Mm, mm,
And she goes, that's unfortunately self-destructive because then you put so much hope in a person
yeah.
and they don't really change. Or, you know, and even if they do change, it takes time, but you put that hope in somebody
Right.
when you're only hurting yourself. And she's like, I just want to ask you, where did you get that sense of hope from? Or that clinginess to hope? Where'd you get that from? And I go,
Mm,
I don't know. She's like, did you get it from your parents? And I go, maybe, because I grew up with emotionally unavailable parents.
mm,
um, my mom got, I mean, don't get me wrong, grateful for everything they gave me. They gave
right.
me everything in my life, right? I mean, they did, of course, so what a parent should do. They gave me a home, they gave me food, they gave me, they gave me all the necessities, right? Which I'm, of course, grateful for, right? Um, all the toys that I wanted, they gave it to me. And I'm proud enough to say that, they did everything for me. They gave me my necessities and then some, right? But I remember in therapy telling her, one of the things that I kind of felt like I didn't receive was external love. And what I mean by
Hmm.
that is I knew that they loved me. I know my parents love me to this
Right.
day. And I know they would do things for me and that, at the end of the day, if I needed them, I could call them. Right. But it's just, there's some level of affection that I didn't receive growing up
Yeah.
that I feel like is very, very important in child development. Right.
Yes.
Um, Very important. Um, and I told her maybe that's where I get my sense of hope from because I hoped that my parents would change, that they would
Right.
eventually give me maybe if I worked harder in school, maybe if I got straight A's, maybe if I was president of the honor society, maybe
Hmm.
if I did this activity or that activity, maybe if I, worked really, really hard, I would get that like I'm proud of you, the
Hmm.
like we're so happy for you, you know not but unfortunately what I kept receiving was good, get an A on the next test,
Right. Right. Right.
like oh you got a B, get an A on the next test, or
Right.
you got a C, that's okay, get an A or whatever, right? Or like where'd you get the C from, what's wrong with you, why are you getting the C, yada
Mhm.
yada yada. What it was I'm not going to say it was the hardest, because I'm obviously there's people out there that have gone through much worse, but
But yours is
um,
still valid. It's still valid.
yeah,
Yeah. Exactly.
right, yeah, exactly. And so it's like it was difficult hearing that because it's like okay, like what do I do to make you happy, right? But then whenever I
Mhm.
would tell them that, they're like, oh, what are you talking about? You're just a kid. You don't have problems, right?
Like, what
Uh,
is up with that? Why do, like, seriously, I've heard that too by my parents, and I
exactly.
was like, oh, I didn't know that people below like a certain age are immune to
Or
problems.
just are not
Like,
allowed to have problems, right?
right? I'm like, oh no, it's not. I'm just completely perfect, and it's just right. Yeah, no, like,
Yeah, it's funny because at the age of like maybe like 12 to 13 years old, my parents are already, my dad's mostly my dad. He's already talking to me about like going to college and like making a career of myself and what I want to do with myself. And I'm like, dude, I'm only 12. Like I'm not allowed
right,
to have problems, but I'm supposed to be learning what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life, right?
right,
Like
right,
it makes
exactly.
absolutely no sense. It's like,
No
okay, what am I
sense.
supposed to like, dude, I'm just playing video games. I'm playing with my like I don't know. Like, I just wanted to play my video games as a kid. Like, leave me alone, dude.
Right,
Let me
right,
be a kid.
yeah.
Let me be a
And that's
kid.
the thing, like I mean, I'm resonating with what you said a little bit about um when you mentioned, like it basically sounded like it was kind of and correct me if I'm wrong, kind of like performative based.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. For sure.
right, saying like yeah, like saying like with my father, I was just a trophy. Other than that, there was no love given to me. He hated the crap out of me. And then
Hmm.
like my mom, it's like, oh, great, you got an A. Great.
Yeah,
And I'm just like, oh, thanks. And so, but the thing that I feel like impacted me the most, at least as of now, was my father. So I felt like I had to I had to perform in order to deserve love or to, or
yep,
to feel value. And
yep.
exactly, and it's like that hope that, oh, what, maybe this time it'll be enough for him to love me forever. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
I fell into that trap, of, well, let's take the blame off of ourselves really quick. Others have placed us or pushed us into a trap, whether they meant to or not. And it's not
Right.
blaming others, it's just holding people accountable and, just saying the facts, the truth. Because it's not like we were born out of the womb and said, I'm going to have abandonment issues.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
yeah, and I just want to like I definitely just want to like highlight that really quick is that, let's just call the BS where it started at. You know what I mean? In order for someone to
Absolutely.
be held accountable, they don't have to intentionally do something. It can be intentionally, unintentionally. I was like, you know what? Like not saying, "Oh, my parents are awful people, but they were awful people. Like legit, they were awful people. But especially my father, I swear he's a demon. But you know, you don't have to be an awful person. It's like holding someone accountable isn't saying, oh,
You're a bad person.
right.
Absolutely.
It's just like this is what you did, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally, and now here's where I'm at in life. And though, I'm having to work on this and heal from this, this didn't start with me. This started to me,
Right.
you know.
Exactly.
So, I'm proud of you for even just taking the steps, Julie, to do that. Because
Oh,
I
honey,
feel
I'm
like
proud of you too. Like I'm proud of everybody. That's
oh
like
no no
that's
no no no! This is
yeah, we're proud of everybody.
no wait. Accept that this is about you right now. We need to just congratulate you, me, and the listeners
Well,
right
thank you.
now. We're supporting you. Yeah, I was like, just receive this. Don't be humble right now. Just receive this. This is you, Julie. Because
Thank
at the
you.
end of the day, you're taking your free will to go to therapy. You're realizing, we all need help sometimes. We don't have to do it all on our own. You're
Right.
realizing, slowly that you're learning yourself. You're learning to love yourself. You're unlearning certain things,
Oh, absolutely.
because I mean, I can just hear tons of people, and I want to say, a lot of them, they meant well when they said this, but oh, stop blaming others. And I'm like, there's a difference between
Hmm.
blaming others and just simply holding people accountable and stating the facts of where
Absolutely.
this once started. Exactly, and so
Absolutely.
I just think that and I need that reminder every now and then. I'm doing a lot better in that area now, but it's, no one told
It's
me.
definitely not easy. Yeah. It's definitely not
Right.
easy having that like pep talk with yourself because it's really easy to fall into that rabbit hole of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I'm just not doing good.
Right.
I feel
Right.
undeserving, you know what I mean? And it's you'll have really good days where you're like, you know what? I'm okay. Like I deserve everything good to me. And then you'll have really bad days where you're like, you
Right.
know what? I feel like shit.
Yeah.
I feel
Upward
like the world is
spiral.
coming. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I feel like the world's coming down on me and I just want to be in bed and not do anything and just be away from the world.
Yeah.
But, whenever you have moments like that, just remember like, number one, it always gets better. It's going to be okay.
Yes.
Again, allow yourself to feel that it's okay. But just remember at the end of the day, like you have things to live for, whether it's, external things like your family and whatnot, but you live for yourself,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
like do things for yourself.
Yes. Like you deserve love. And it's just like by staying here on this earth, you deserve love. Stay when you're staying on this earth, you know what I mean? Next year, who knows? Next year, you might run into a group of people or a special someone that's gonna love you where
Right.
you are, and
Yes.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
and it's like you deserve, and I don't think I've ever told myself this, like, Trenton, stay on this earth because you deserve to be loved, you
Right.
know? Um, but Julie, going back to really quick about, like I want to ask if this ties into like abandonment issues because I know I've struggled with abandonment issues, and I would say I'm doing so much better now thanks to therapy and research and just
Yes.
learning and loving myself and learning what loving
Same.
myself looks like. Yeah. Do you think
Same here.
it's easy for you to fall for emotionally unavailable people because it's like we're we were in a way taught to perform in order for approval or external love, external validation, or
So it's so funny because I've the to my two biggest relationships. I've dated people, right? We've all, at some point dated more than one people, more than one person,
must be
right?
nice. I haven't. Must be nice. I'm just sitting here jealous, waiting for Nick
Oh,
Jonas
girl.
to
I mean,
propose to
I'm.
me.
I mean, I'm not over here like jumping around person to person, but two
Yeah, I
definitely
know it.
significant.
I'm just fucking with
Um,
you.
two of my significant relationships. funny enough, have been emotionally unavailable people. You would think I would have learned the first time, right?
I wish it
Um,
was that easy.
yeah. Uh, and the one thing that my therapist has taught me, in this most recent session, actually, and she goes, "What's something that you look for in your current relationship?" And I go, "Honestly, reassurance." And she goes, "Reassurance of what exactly?" And I go, "Reassurance that I'm not going to be abandoned. I'm
Mm,
not, my person isn't just telling me good things about me and that they're not going to leave just because that they're actually being truthful to me, I guess."
mm,
And she goes, I'm going to tell you two things. Number one, give unto others what you would give to yourself,
mm,
right? So you're looking at this person and you want them to give you this reassurance. You want them to give you affection. You want them to give you love and this and that. Give that to yourself. Allow yourself to. Why don't you give it to yourself?
mm.
And then for a minute, for a little while, I was like, I felt undeserving of it. And she goes, "But you deserve love.
Yeah.
Think of you as your inner child. Think of your inner child, right? Think of little Julie, or for the viewers watching, think of whoever you are. Think of your baby. That's your baby, right? Think of what you were deprived of as a child, and give that
Mm.
to them.
Yes.
Then the book that I was reading called "You Are Here," discovering the magic of the present moment, right? The Buddhist monk that wrote it, he was saying something along the lines of, dear myself, dear me, right? Uh, I am sorry for abandoning you. You know, I'm sorry that you are in despair, that you were in pain, that you felt XYZ things, but just know that I'm here for you now. As an adult, I am here for you now. So take that inner baby and cradle it, take care of it. Because at the end of the day, everything that you do is for them. Everything
Yeah.
that you do is for them. And so take care of them. And I'm trying to learn that. My therapist said, that was the first thing. Second thing, how do you get that reassurance? And I go, well, for me, it's communication, it's this and that. And she goes, okay, well, you've listed communication, you've listed quality time, you've listed this person talking to and initiating talking to you. And, instead of you texting them first, or instead of you initiating date day, or instead of you initiating this, you want them to do it first, right? And I go, well, yeah, because I feel like I'm always the one initiating, right? I'm
Right.
always the
Right.
one reaching out for that love because that's what I want, right?
Right.
And she's like, here's the thing. I feel like the person that you're talking about, they've done that. They've reassured you, but not in the way that you think.
Mm.
And I go, what do you mean? And she goes, they've reassured you that they can leave.
Oh.
Not necessarily that they
Damn.
can stay, but they've reassured you that they can leave.
Oh shit. That.
Man,
Whoa.
when I tell you, I was an emotional wreck when she said that. I
Mind
immediately started.
blown.
I was like, bro, couldn't I stop? I think I cried for a solid like 5 minutes straight. Like
Yeah.
I was like, can I? I was like, can I have these tissues right there? And
Right.
she was like, that's all for you. I have candy if you need it. And I was like, no, just tissues is fine. I'm over here blowing mojitos everywhere. Like, and
Yeah.
she's like, what do you? She's like, think of a drone. Those drones that fly out and do those over a bird's eye view, overhead
Mhm.
shots of like buildings and stuff like that. She's like,
Mhm.
what do you see in this person? And I say, this person is trying. And she goes, really? Okay, you have a very big heart. And this is where the conversation of empathy for people in abusive relationships, you have a really big heart. And I go, why? She's like, you're seeing that this person's trying, but what I'm seeing is that they're giving you this reassurance that they can leave.
Mm.
And it's just like, that's a lot to process, I know. And I go, yeah, it kind of is. And she's like, I'm gonna let you sit through the week and process that, you
Yeah.
know, and it kind of ties back into that performative like action, right? Funny enough, my love language is acts of service.
Yeah.
So that kind of ties into that, right? So like with my person, acts of service, right? If I can make things easier for them, like let's say they're stressed out, and I'll do the dishes for them, right? Because I know that stresses them out. I'll make sure I remind them for their appointments because I know that they're bad on time, so on and so forth, right? Acts of service. And I didn't realize how much my childhood kind of brought that up in me where like I only saw love as doing things for people
Ooh,
and leaving myself open for people and not having a boundary. Another thing my therapist told me is think of yourself as a farmer, right? You have this plot of land. You look around at all the other farmers, they have fences around their land, right? That's their boundaries. She's like, you, Julie, and maybe the viewer and whoever else is listening, right? You don't have a fence. You don't have boundaries. So you're letting other people and their animals piss and shit on your land, and you're just taking it.
yeah.
So you don't have boundaries for
Mm,
yourself, and so that's something that I'm still learning to this day is learning when to have
right,
boundaries, learning when enough is enough, when my giving is too much, and then
right,
when it's
right.
exhausting.
Yes. And boundaries, it's a learning process, a learning journey. Because let's be honest, it's not like it's like super popular for people to teach boundaries. It's just kind of something that's just an unwritten rule of, oh, you're just supposed to have. And no, I was like, no, we have to
Exactly.
learn it a lot of times.
Yeah.
I didn't
Exactly.
I didn't know what boundaries even meant until like 4 years ago, 3 years ago. And
Yeah.
something that I thought of, Julie. So I know a lot of that. One, parents are very, very crucial to how a child can give and receive love. Not saying that it's an absolute for every single person. No. Like,
Right. Right.
however, we do see it's very common that, parents' love towards their child or even lack thereof will affect how they
Hmm.
receive and give love. And
Oh, absolutely.
yes, and it's just like, you know, okay, so anyways, yes, with that being said, that love that we received or lack of love that we received from parents, or, the love, maybe they did love us, just not in the way we needed to be loved. Um,
Hmm.
we can unintentionally project that sometimes. And what I'm thinking, I'm just gonna ask you this because I literally, since you're speaking, I think I like just kind of realized something because I used to fall for the toxic guys back then. Way back
Yeah.
then. I used to fall for the toxic guys way back then. See, I got it. I was like, I just wanted to
Yeah.
see your facial reaction. But
Took me a second.
but
I was like, wait, what?
right, yes, but no, I like white and Latino. I like white and Latino guys. But anyways,
I'm dead.
um, so because they're trying, because we see the potential, whether they're actually doing it or not, or we're just romanticizing potential. Could it be because
Hmm.
in a way we're seeing ourselves a little bit because for so long we were trying to get parents' love. There was potential that,
Exactly.
oh, maybe this time they'll love me if I perform this
Exactly.
way. So it's like
Exactly.
maybe could that be another reason why, you know, we stay because, oh, they're trying, or,
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
that be?
For a while, like I said, like every time I would, get an A, my parents would be like, "Oh, that's great. Get another A. Like keep going." And it offered this like anxiety and anticipation, or anxiety of anticipation of like, oh, like maybe this time they'll congratulate me, or this time they'll say they're proud of me, right? Um, funny enough, as an adult, now my mom is proud of me now that I've gotten a degree and, you know, I
Yeah, same.
I've gotten a degree. Yeah, I've gotten a degree. I graduated, cum laude, whatever, which is great. It's fantastic. And I'm celebrating myself, right? And it's crazy because my mom's over here like, I'm so proud of you. Realize how much I'm proud of you. She's over here posting or like putting my degree on the wall, you know, and framing it in front of everyone in our house. And it's funny because I just wanted to ask her, like, where the fuck was this when I was a child in grade school? Where was this? Like, granted, like I don't know, I don't think people realize that yes, like children achieve like achievements in childhood, like when they did their like their turkey hand right in the paint their hand paintings and whatnot. They're like, Mom, Dad, or big sister, big brother, whatever. Look at this. Look what I made. Aunt, uncle, look what I made. When they're excited about something, as an aunt, like I tell them, like fucking awesome. That's amazing. That's great. Like you, I'm proud of you for doing it. You know what I mean? As a child, I didn't get that. I did like, hey, mom, look what I drew. I drew this thing. And she goes, that's nice. Did you do your homework?
Right, right.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, that's okay. So it's like that anxiety of wanting to please people for doing this action, kind of carried over as an adult, even in my workplace. I feel like the harder that I work at my job, the more likely they'll congratulate me and give me promotion, which is not always the case, unfortunately.
Right.
Um, that's another topic, right? Where we like, we burn ourselves out working hard for a corporation that only rewards ass kissing and whatnot, right? That's corporate America for you. Anyways, um, but like, I realized in relationships, like maybe if I just did this thing for these people, maybe if I just please them enough by through actions and whatnot, and by words and affirmation, that maybe they won't leave me.
Right.
But unfortunately, it doesn't matter. I mean, yes, it does matter, of course. Like, do things for your significant other, right?
Right.
Show the love. That's what my therapist taught me. She's like,
Right.
still be you, of course.
Right.
Have that big heart, keep that big heart, but just learn boundaries, right? But just remember that, like, it's not about you at the end of the day when it comes to them leaving you. It's something that they lack, the other person lacks in themselves, you know, oftentimes. I don't know if you ever heard of attachment styles, right?
Yes.
Yes. So I learned that I'm
Anxious.
definitely an anxious, yes, I'm definitely an anxious
Same.
attachment. I'm definitely an anxious attachment. And I've learned that my person that I'm with, she's an avoidant. And I've actually learned that those two dynamics are like the biggest clashers.
We love each other.
They
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Neighborhood.
what's it called? Like they're a tornado. They're just a whirlwind of triggers after trigger after trigger, right?
Mhm.
Because the anxious wants to please, 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 while the avoidant is so afraid and they avoid, 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 right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and so like I've learned that at the end of the day, like I'm not responsible for my person's feelings and emotions and how they react to something, right? So it's like those abandonment issues definitely felt hard because we've been going through kind of some stuff and whatnot, right? And the abandonment issues definitely like spoke these last couple of weeks, right? And just like wow, like doesn't matter how much I do or whatever I do, at the end of the day, like if they're gonna leave, they're gonna leave,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Right.
know?
Right. And
And
that's the unfortunate thing. And that that sucks because that's definitely something that I'm definitely, I'm recently realizing and have been to I brought this up to my group counseling a couple months ago. I'm like, this whole time I've been afraid to hope. I've been so afraid to hope. To hope. So
mm-hmm,
afraid. And it's because of like a lot of the things that you've mentioned, you know what I mean? Like put hope in one basket. And it's just really confusing because it's like I hear all the time, "Oh, you gotta hope for it and this or that." And I was like, "You know what? Yeah, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. How about that?"
do
So,
we do we all know what to do in life? We're just these small little
honestly,
organisms in this giant universe. Like, do we really know what we're doing?
great. And that's the thing. There's so much pressure on everyone and so much pressure, especially like, growing up to, I mean, it just can be
Hmm.
also like in environments and in communities, just this pressure to do everything right or to have it all together,
Right.
and I'm like, look, we all need help. There's not one person on this earth that knows it all. And there's people that think
Hmm.
they know it all. My father.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So
unfortunately.
there's some people that definitely that think they know it all. And I go, I'm honestly, at the end of the day, you don't know everything.
You
And if you knew
don't.
everything, you would not be on this earth right now.
Right. Yes, exactly. Because honestly, the more you know, the more that you don't know. That's literally
Hmm.
how learning works. Does that make sense? It
Absolutely.
sounds so
Exactly.
weird. That's why I like saying it as well. The more that try it saying that 10 times, the more you know. They see I can't
Yeah,
even.
and be less confused, right?
Yeah, right. Well, Jules, I know that, we're wrapping up time here. Um, um, I know that, time's ending, wrapping up here.
Hmm.
But really quick, I wanted to thank you so much. for just being here. Everything you said, very healing, very eye-opening, very
Absolutely.
eye-opening. You taught me some things. And I love that we still touched on, letting go, abandonment issues, and self-love, but we also touched on, emotions and like, navigating therapy, navigating emotions. So I'm gonna
Absolutely.
change your flyer and put those two topics in, um,
For sure.
instead of, yeah, because, like, obviously how this podcast works, folks, is, like, we have like I would say loose framework subjects. So like basically subjects that we start off, but it's conversational. It converses into a multitude of other thingies. So what I'm telling Julie is about the flyer. So the flyer is just something that um, we make and then we just advertise it on Instagram. Um,
Right.
yeah, and so the flyer is what has the base or the start off topics. So that's how that works, folks. So what I'm saying is I'm just going to change those topics on the just
Right,
because
right, right.
that's huge, yeah. But the podcast is still going to be talked about anything, yeah. So that's why I said, folks, it's like a loose framework because this is a podcast. This is vulnerability time. Things are unedited, uncut, raw. We could just start somewhere and end up talking about something completely differently, and that's all welcome because somebody somewhere needs to hear that quote unquote off topic thing.
Oh
Somebody
yeah, you don't
somewhere.
realize the small little things make a huge difference.
Huge
Then
difference.
there are a lot of things that in my life that I'm sure in your life too, and everyone's lives where that small thing it triggers something in you, and you go,
Yes.
oh wow, that
Yes.
resonates.
Right. Yes. Exactly. And when I saw Nick Jonas, get married, it triggered something in
It was
me.
triggering.
Hmm,
It was triggering.
it was
It was
very
triggering, and I
triggering.
understand it.
Exactly, because that was, my man. But
It's
I
okay. That's how I feel about fictional characters. That is totally okay.
from that. I love it. But but yes, Julie, this has been marvelous. Thank you so much for for being vulnerable, for just sharing. Thank you for your time.
No,
Um
thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it.
yes, you are the definition of determination. You are the
Thank you.
definition of the statement, I did not quit. You are that.
Yeah,
This has
we
been
continue to
another
try.
episode of yeah. This has been another episode of awesomeness, another episode of determination, another episode of our guest being the moon, shining
Oh,
even
thank
on the
you.
darkest of nights. Because the moon still shines and it's still so beautiful despite the darkness. This has been Vulnerability Time. I will see y'all next episode, folks. And thank y'all so much for tuning in and listening. And I know we're giving a huge thanks to Julie for this wisdom and just Julie just being here and whatnot. So
I
thank you,
appreciate you
Julie.
guys.
We'll
Thank
see
you.
you next time.
I actually do want
Yeah.
to leave with one quote,
Oh, of
and it's actually from an
course.
anime. It was actually from an anime that I watched called Full Metal Alchemist. If y'all watch anime, it's from that. And just remember that no one's perfect. The world's not perfect, but it works and it rotates on a tilted axis, just doing the best that it can, and that's why it's so beautiful. And I just want to let everyone know that even though yeah you're not perfect, that's okay. You're doing the best you can. That's all that matters.
Right. Yes. And
So
just like, yeah, like
so
no one's perfect, but we're all capable of growth.
exactly.
Yes.
Yep. We're all beautiful. So thank you for having
All.
me, Trenton. I really do
Oh
appreciate
my God, thanks for your time.
it.